Good afternoon and thank you for staying tuned to African News 24 Television, your premier source for timely updates from across the continent and beyond. I'm Timothy Crown, 𝗳𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, bringing you the latest development in sports, politics, and more. We begin this hour in politics and we report from Rivers State as some members of the State House of Assembly say they are proceeding with the impeachment process on the governor and deputy governor of the state, 𝗳𝗶𝗍𝗍𝗀𝗍, and Professor 𝗯𝗍𝗍𝗀𝗍. The members of the Assembly during a media briefing in Port Harcourt, the state capital, say the decision becomes important to exercise their oversight function as enshrined in the Constitution. The lawmakers insist their action is to check the exercise of the governor and his deputy after other alternatives failed. They also dismiss insinuation of ethnic coloration to their action, adding that their effort is in the best interest of the oil-rich state.
He concluded that there is indeed the need to proceed. This is a decision of all of us, including members who had the opportunity to address the media a few days ago and those who had already decided not to proceed but changed their positions. In the face of prevailing situation, our decision to proceed is informed by the following. 1. The governor and the deputy governor do not have any intention to stop disobeying the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered. This is the third time that impeachment proceedings will top affairs of the state, and we have noticed that the governor and the deputy governor.
Meanwhile, the members of the House of Assembly have called on the Chief Judge of the state to set up a panel to investigate the allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy 𝗯𝗍𝗍𝗀𝗍. The Assembly members who made the call during a unanimous vote insist on continuing with the impeachment process. The lawmakers, during a media address earlier today, accused Fubara of allegedly using blackmail. Addressing journalists, the Deputy Speaker 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗍𝗀 said Fubara lacked the trust needed to address the crisis rocking the oil-rich state. They accused the governor of infringing on the 1999 Constitution, saying the parliament was left with no other option but to apply their legislative power of impeaching the governor. They also claimed the governor and his deputy had resorted to intimidating parliament members. And in security, there are projections that the United States may be spending as much as 587 billion naira on counter-insurgency operations in Nigeria and other African countries in 2026 amid worsening security conditions across West Africa. The allocation is contained in the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026. The funds were approved under the title cie𝗿𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀 Operation Maintenance. The security budget for the U.S. Africa Command comes against the backdrop of the Christmas Day attacks on terrorist hideouts in Sokoto State by Donald Trump administration. The $413 million budget for security operations comes as West Africa continues to grapple with insurgency, banditry, and violent extremism. And to the court, the Supreme Court has ordered the continuation of the 1.35 billion naira corruption trial of the former governor of Jigawa State, Lamido, and his two sons, Mustafa and Aminu. The court rules that rule overturns a court of appeal judgment that had freed them. In a unanimous decision by a 5-member panel led by Justice 𝗳𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, the Apex Court upheld the appeal filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and set aside the July 2023 judgment of the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court held that the EFCC's appeal was meritorious and directed that Lamido and his sons return to the Federal High Court to open their defense in the case. Lamido, his sons, Aminu Wada Abubakar, and their companies, Bamena Holdings Limited and Speeds International Limited, are standing trial before Justice 𝗳𝗍𝗻𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 Ojukwu of the Federal High Court on a 37-count amended charge bordering on money laundering and abuse of office. The FCC alleged that Lamido, who governed Jigawa State between 2007 and 2015, laundered 1.35 billion naira in kickbacks from contractors handling state projects. Still in the court, the Supreme Court has upheld the conviction of Aminu Sule Lamido, son of former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, for failing to declare $40,000 while departing the country and for making a false declaration of false currency. A five-member panel of the court of the appeal court of the Apex Court delivered a unanimous judgment today, dismissing Aminu's appeal and confirming the concurrent decisions of the Court of Appeal in Kaduna and the Federal High Court in Kano. The court held that the appeal lacked merit, describing the appellant's argument as devoid of substance and upholding the full judgment of the lower court. Aminu was first convicted by the Federal High Court in Kano on July 2015 after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission arraigned him on charges bordering on money laundering and false declaration of currency. The trial court found him guilty of not declaring $40,000 at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano while attempting to board an international flight. Into some sad news after a life well-lived, 𝗷𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 State, has passed away. Abdullahi enjoyed the admiration and respect of many after he famously sheltered 262 Christians during communal violence in the state. His son, cie𝗿𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, confirmed his death earlier today, stating that the cleric died on Thursday night at the Plateau Specialist Hospital in Jos. According to cie𝗿𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀, his father died 10 days after he was admitted in the hospital. Imam Abubakar died at the age of 90 years. He is survived by 19 children, 12 sons, and 7 daughters. Recall that in June 2018, during violent faith-based communal clashes that affected 10 villages in 𝗁𝗏𝗏 in the state, and is in line with provisions of the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, which mandates the filing of annual tax returns detailing employees' emoluments, taxes deducted and remitted, as well as payments made to consultants, vendors, and service providers. The agency stated that the submissions must be made exclusively through its e-tax portal, noting that manual filings will no longer be accepted. Employers were also advised to ensure that all employees have valid tax identification numbers to avoid delays in the filing process. LRS urged taxpayers to file early to avoid last-minute challenges, stressing that timely compliance supports effective revenue administration and fiscal planning in Lagos State. Still talking tax, the Nigeria Revenue Service, formerly Federal Inland Revenue Service, has dispelled reports suggesting that value-added tax is being charged directly on bank transfers, stressing that the 7.5% tax applies only to fees charged by banks for their services, not to the funds transferred by customers. According to a statement by the agency, recent media reports claiming that VAT is being newly imposed on electronic transfers and other banking transactions were inaccurate and misleading. The statement, signed by 𝗳𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, Special Advisor on Media to the NRS Chairman 𝗳𝗶𝗍𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, explained that VAT has long applied to banking services under Nigeria's tax framework and was not introduced by the Nigeria Tax Act. According to the Revenue Service, assertions that VAT is now being charged on electronic money transfers, banking fees, or commissions are unfounded. And on the foreign scene, President Yoweri Museveni may be cruising home to victory following reports of his commanding lead as officials conducted a vote count in Uganda's elections. Based on tallies from nearly half of polling stations, Uganda's Electoral Commission reported today that the long-standing ruler of the Central African nation are taking 76.25% of the total vote. Meanwhile, Museveni's main challenger, pop star turned politician Bobi Wine, had gained just 19.85% and was under house arrest, according to his party, as reports of violence began to emerge. The remaining votes were split among 6 other candidates, the Electoral Commission said.
Total number of registered voters, 21,649,067 on the National Voters Register. The total number of polling stations, 50,739. Results, the total number of polling stations from which we have received the results at this point in time, 133, representing 0.26% of total polling stations. These are so far the results per presidential candidate.
Outside Africa, U.S. President Donald Trump has been praising Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado for presenting him with a Nobel Peace Prize after they met at the White House. The Venezuelan opposition leader Machado had earlier said she presented a Nobel Peace Prize medal to Trump in a bid to win over the U.S. president who had sidelined her since overthrowing Nicolas Maduro. A wonderful gesture of mutual respect, as Trump called it, comes after the Republicans said the award should have gone to him instead, and after he refused to back Machado following the January the 3rd U.S. military operation to capture Maduro. Despite the gesture, Trump has backed Maduro's vice president, 𝗳𝗲𝗻𝗀𝗃𝗀 Rodriguez, over Machado, saying, according to him, Machado's opposition party does not have a significant amount of following in the country.
Of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
do you have any hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday.
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have this.
Welcome to sports. Former world heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua has returned to the gym in a bid to recover from the devastating car crash which left two of his close friends dead. AJ documented his return to the gym for the first time after the accident. Joshua, in his message on the social media platform, captioned his post-mental strength therapy. In a post on a Snapchat account, Joshua is seen using an exercise bike and a swimming pool. There are no details yet if this is a return to ring, or, as his promoter 𝗍𝗲𝗃𝗀 says, he does not expect Joshua to fight again, but adds that there is no formal conversation on that yet.
دوی کمبینات سیخاتی و زیاد دوی پیاد
In entertainment, Nigerian singer Davido has reacted to claims by a teenager, 𝗳𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, who alleges he is a father and is demanding a DNA test. In a series of posts on social media, Davido firmly denied being her father, stating that he has undergone multiple DNA tests, reportedly 5, all of which showed negative results. He also questioned the actions of the teenager's mother, describing the situation as unnecessary and insisting he will no longer comment publicly. The alleged daughter has responded online, disputing some of Davido's claims and maintaining a request for a DNA test to confirm her paternity, as she cited emotional distress and bullying over her claimed parentage as reasons for seeking clarity. And that will be all for now. You can follow us for more updates on these stories and others on our website, africanews24.ng. You can as well follow us on all our social media platforms to to stay informed and ahead. I'm Timothy Crown at 𝗍𝗶𝗁𝗀. See you at 6 o'clock.